Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of NasCard Radio. This is episode 204 of NasCard Radio, where trading cards and racing meet. I'm your pal Val. With me is the man, the myth, legend, PSA, and White Castle Hall of Famer, Logan and Bella.
Yeah, Bella's behind me, and I am feeling like I made the playoffs.
Get that big check.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that big check. Yeah,
Yeah, well, you bring that up. So I got a great show for you. Actually, it's not a great show. It is a monster of a show. We're going to do a racing recap, but that's not the part. The part is we're going to cover the 1972 STP set. Me and Logan put our heads together, all our knowledge, wisdom, experience with the 72 STP set. So we will dive into that today, and then we'll finish the show with King's Court. It's a must watch.
yeah. This is probably going to be like what you said earlier, an evergreen episode.
Definitely. It's going to be something for everybody to learn. So it's a great set. Anyway, we got a long, long way to go, a short time to get there. So let's dive into it with the racing recap. Had a few races going on after the Olympics. Oh, I know what it is. I want to do is I almost took start there without shout outs and
Um,
stuff. You almost let me. So of course I want to thank our sponsor Panini America, and then welcome new Rumble subscriber Bodabugs.
Bodabugs.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
And then, well, we got another new Rumble subscriber, Mr. JJP62. Welcome aboard. And then
Juan Pablo
also,
Montoya. No, that's not it.
was that?
I said Juan Pablo Montoya. No, that's not it.
No, and then we have a new YouTube subscriber as well, BruinOtwo. Welcome aboard. And then, of course, we're going to do our shout outs to Tim Mozzie, Scott Boys, Skid Marks, Kyle Katz, Charm City Autographs, Michael Haggard, J Suit, Robbie's Hobbies, and Noah Ferrugia.
You did pretty good with that one.
Thank you.
And no,
Thanks.
Noah will appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I don't mean to apologize. I didn't want to, with my last name, people add letters and all kinds of stuff, but that's besides the point. But I want to thank everybody for all the YouTube and Rumble comments. We read them, so please leave them. And I think that's it. I think Select is still scheduled for September 6th. Price is still about 150 a box. Our NASCAR radio hit meters, $50. You get 2 auto, 1 mem. So, all right.
Can't
And
wait.
then, yeah. And then, of course, please help us by subscribing and sharing the show.
Yeah, and if anybody knows anybody at Dirty Mo Media, say, hey, watch these guys. They're pretty cool.
So we at least hopefully know our stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's break out and knock out the racing recap. So we had a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race number 16 after the break. That was the Clean Harbors 250, and that was Saturday, August 10th at Richmond Raceway. Ty Majeski was our winner. Highest finishing rookie was Layne Riggs, position 5. And that was pretty much a repeat of the last truck race before the break.
Yeah.
When I'm looking through my notes, and I'm like, oh, Ty Majeski. Oh, Layne Riggs, position 5, same position. So they are picking up where they left off. So, but Ty Majeski, talked about him last time. 2017 first cards, Panini Absolute, Tools of the Trade signatures. 2017 Panini Select signatures. 27 Panini Torque Trackside signatures. A lot of signatures for even
Yes.
2017.
And he's got his hands crossed in the memorabilia card. So there you go. His arms crossed, I should say.
I like him holding the Wheelands flag there on the
Yeah,
Torque.
that's actually a really nice card.
I like talk. And then our highest finishing rookie, Layne Riggs. We mentioned before he had the 2005 press pass snapshots where he's standing on his dad's shoulders, looking into the car. But this year he got his own card in 2024 Donruss rated rookie card number 97 with the parallels. Also in 2024 Donruss optic and optic signatures as well for him.
Yeah, he had a chance to win. I think he got right there at the end. He got up, almost up front, and then he faded back because it was a crazy battle there at the end.
Yeah, I was pulling for him to win, but
Me too.
didn't work out for him. So, all right, and next race. So that was the end of the regular season for the truckers. Next race is the Luna 175 race number 17, Milwaukee Mile, Sunday, August 25th. So we got to wait a few weeks till we start the playoffs.
That'll be a cool race. I like that Milwaukee Mile. I'd love to see Cup go up there, but I don't know if that facility can handle a Cup race.
Yeah, I don't know. Moving over to the Xfinity Series, they were off. Next race, the Cabo Wabo 250 at Michigan International Speedway. That's Saturday, August 17th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern.
Cobble wobble.
Yeah. Moving over to the Cup Series, they were racing race number 23. That was the Cookout 400 Sunday, August 11th at Richmond Raceway. Austin Dillon, Demolition Derby winner, and the highest finishing rookie Carson Hocevar at position 8.
Yeah.
So I did like the different compound tire. I was thinking, oh, is this F1?
Yeah. It kind of had an F1 feel with the tires, didn't it?
Yeah, everybody was trying to feel that out. Suarez was the canary in the coal mine there for the test, but
He was. Yeah, he was the rabbit.
so and we can talk about the whole Dillon, but I think you alluded in the intro. Big paycheck, big check coming at the end of the season now.
Yeah, that was. I'm going to be nice when I say this, but in my opinion, that was one of the biggest bonehead moves I have ever seen watching a Cup race. I think that is only eclipsed by Kevin LePage driving into the field after a pit stop at Talladega. But that was absolutely absurd. I mean, the SMT data they talked about that. They said on the previous lap before he wrecked Denny Hamlin and everybody, his the degrees of his turn was like 3 degrees, and that was I think to the left. And then they said on that last lap when he went into Hamlin, or no, it was to the right. And then on that last lap with Hamlin, he was like 33 degrees or something like that to the left into Hamlin. So it was definitely, I mean, the numbers don't lie. He definitely did it intentionally, whether he will ever say that or not. But his spotter was telling him, hey, wreck him, wreck him, wreck him. And it's like, that's just not the way you do it. I mean, that to me, that makes NASCAR look like a joke.
Yeah, it's basically hey, if you can hold them off, wreck anybody that gets in your way, and collect the win. But
Well, that's the win and in mentality that we've got right now. You know, remember, it used to be, I think you had to be 20th or better and have a win to get in, but now it's just like win. It doesn't matter where you are, you win and you get in.
well, this is what they wanted, right? With the win and you're in. This is kind of what they wanted, and it's going to progress and morph as as the seasons go on and the bigger paycheck. I think you said what he's in the 30s something now, and now he's in
He was 32nd, I believe, in points before that, and now he's up to 13th.
right. I
He's
mean,
the last driver to on the list to win a race.
right, and so folks that don't know, depending on how you finish in the season, is how they divvy up the money at the end of the year. And this is something that France came up with all those years ago to keep people in NASCAR and not going to the other competitive series. So I guess where I'm going with this is that the RCR now has bumped up to that position for the payout at the end of the season. No matter what, they're going to finish no worse than
16th.
was 16th. Right, exactly. So that's a big difference than the 2030s. So
And I think this has been his worst season ever. And honestly, in my opinion, he is not the best driver out there. I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, the statistics do not lie. And I'm not saying anything that the statistics don't prove. And some people may not like that. I know there's a lot of 3 fans out there, but Austin Dillon is not Dale Earnhardt Sr. Sorry, but just because he's got that number doesn't mean he's like Earnhardt. So he's just not, he's just a run of the mill cup driver, in my opinion. That's just the way I look at it. I mean, I like him okay, but as far as his driving abilities, he's not one of the top tier drivers. That's just the way that it is. And for him to do that, he won't make it past the first round. I mean, his results will dictate that. Not to mention that karma will be in full effect that first round, because either Hamlin and or Logano are going to make sure something happens. I guarantee that. You'll see it. It'll be exciting. And I'll be clapping because he does not deserve to be in there. To me, it's a waste of a playoff spot that somebody who's had a better season should have.
yeah, one of these guys are on the bubble, but I guess we'll see. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but
I'm leaving it right there.
Yeah. So Austin Dillon's first cards. 2009 Wheels Element. That was the first year for Element. I only ran from 2009 to I think 11, but basically you have your undiscovered element, which is what they basically what they did for that Element series, and then they have the radioactive. That's the one on the right, numbered out of 100, and then you have the autograph undiscovered element autographs numbered out of 130, or the red ink numbered at 25, which is there to the left, which has the 2008 Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, it has the inscription in there. That's pretty cool.
With the out of red, yeah. So, but one of the reasons I love Panini Instant, I was gonna say, when was Austin Dillon's first win? It's in the 27 Panini Instant set.
Yeah,
That's the
so at
reason I
least he's got
remember.
part of his first win. And speaking of that, though, speaking of Panini Instant, what about the Josh Berry, Caitlin Clark card?
So I'm hearing rumblings of about 1,100 print run
That's awesome.
with it. So I was really impressed that I think it was out of 25, 10, 5, every level sold out. The 101, the 105, the 110, and I think it was 125. I was really surprised that like the 125 went, but it was sold out. It was a big success. So hopefully maybe we'll see some more for the playoffs. I don't know. So
I'd love to. I'd love Panini. We want Panini Instant cards for the playoffs. Thank you very much.
yeah, I don't think they've shipped yet. So we'll see when that is. And then our highest finishing rookie, Carson Hocevar, first card, 2022 Dunruss, rated rookie, with also 2022 Donruss Signature Series, 2022 Panini Chronicles. He's an absolute with absolute autographs. Clearly Donruss Spectra, 2022 Panini Prism base card there. Also has sensational signatures in 22 Prism, and then also 2022 Prism. No, sorry, Panini National Treasures card there. Rising Stars and rookie signatures. Lots of Carson Hocevar in 2022.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that hat on the Donruss cards, though.
Oh, that yeah.
So it's not a safari hat, or honestly, I'm not a hat guy, so I couldn't tell you what kind of hat that is.
I don't know. So, and all right. So next race, Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway, Sunday, August 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern. We have 3 more races remaining in the regular season. We have Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, and Kyle Busch outside looking in.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were hoping that Kyle Busch could pull off a win at Richmond, but it was his teammate that won. So I don't know what kind of setup he had, but I will give him this. He had a very good car. and that last caution really stunk up everything. And he came out first, but his restart was terrible. But it is what it is. Years from now, nobody will remember that. It'll just be a stat in the record book.
Yep. All right, moving to Formula One. They were off next race, race number 15 of 24, August 25th at the Dutch Grand Prix at 9 a.m. Eastern. So we still have a few weeks for that. Over in IndyCar, race number 13 of 17. That's August 17th. And that is the at Gateway Balmeraro, how do you say that? Automotive Group 500. And that's a night race, 8 p.m.
Oh, yeah, that'll be good. I can't wait for that either.
Yeah, so that's it for racing recap.
All right.
All right, let's jump into the 1972 STP set. This is one of the sets we've been wanting to do for quite some time.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, STP actually started in 1954. I don't remember the scientist that developed it, but in Andy Granatelli, I think he joined STP in 1963. So, but from what I have read and remember, STP actually stands for originally scientifically treated petroleum. And now, if you go to PSA, go to STP's website, they say it stands for Science, Technology, and Performance. So they've changed it, but originally, it was the scientifically treated petroleum.
All right. So I want to read an excerpt in the book I am writing about the 1972 STP. The set was the first time NASCAR drivers were depicted on standard size 2.5 by 3.5 trading cards. They were created as a promotional item by STP CEO Andy Granatelli and given away at different racetracks. The set comprises of 11 different unnumbered cards featuring 10 different drivers. NASCAR driver Fred Lorenzen has 2 cards with different photos on the front, but both have identical card backs. All the cards have full bleed color fronts on thin postcard type stock with blue lettering on the back. The cards are unnumbered, and the back features the driver's name, town, birth date, and zodiac sign. I think that was a thing back in the
it was
70s.
my mom used to read her
Horoscope?
horoscope every day in the
Yeah.
paper.
Each card back also has a few sentences about the driver's accomplishments and performance from the first 31 races of the 1971 NASCAR season. At the bottom of the card, each card is compliments of STP Corporation, 125 Oakton Street, Des Plaines, Illinois 60018. Color by Racing Pictorial Magazine, P.O. Box 500, Indianapolis, Indiana 46224. And it says, and so I believe Mr. Fred Lorenzen has 2 STP cards because he was coming out of retirement after retiring a few years earlier. Mr. Granatelli contacted Mr. Lorenzen when he found out he was making a comeback and sponsored his car for what would be 14 races in 1971. They knew each other since Mr. Lorenzen got his start racing in events promoted by Mr. Granatelli in the Chicago area. Granatelli, I'm going off your script here, but any Granatelli sponsored races, I think even in Soldier Field, if I'm not mistaken there. So since this was the first NASCAR set ever produced, all cards containing the set are rookie cards for each driver, with the most famous of all being Richard Petty. Of course, this line here is dated here. There are currently 2 NASCAR Hall of Famers in the set, with the potential of more to be elected and added in the future. On a special note, this set was created by legendary figure Mr. Andy Granatelli and Mr. Ray Mann. Mr. Andy Granatelli is an Indy racing legend, and his list of accomplishments is very long. He's a member of several automotive Hall of Fames. If you grew up in the 1960s or early 70s, you might be familiar with the name. For those not familiar with him, Mr. Granatelli, from an early age, liked to make cars go fast and loved driving them. He had a head for business, which led him to also being a race promoter in the Chicago area during the 1960s and early 1970s. Mr. Granatelli was president and CEO of STP Corporation. He built the STP brand from an unknown product to a household name with an iconic red, white, and blue oval logo known worldwide. During that time, he promoted the STP brand by sponsoring events and using giveaways such as trading cards, pens, and stickers. They sponsored race cars in Indy and NASCAR and gave away STP stickers to race fans. In 1971, STP sponsored Fred Lorenzen's car with owner Ray Nickel. Is that it?
Ray Nichols.
Okay. It was during this time that the STP trading card set was produced. The STP brand in 1970 would go on to sponsor the King Richard Petty in its famous 1940 and famous 43 car number for many years, becoming one of the most recognized logos in professional sports. The other legendary figure that helped produce the set was Mr. Ray Mann. He was a photographer who took beautiful color photos at automobile races during the late 50s up to 1986. The key here is that he took color photos. Everyone else was taking black and white photos for the newspaper and wire services. He produced a quarterly magazine called Racing Pictorial that included photographs of the different racing divisions, including open wheel and stock cars. He knew that auto racing was a visual sport with colorful cars and used color film to capture the stars and their cars. He also pioneered the driver handout, which is now commonplace at every NASCAR and IndyCar race. He was also the first one to mass produce the driver handout, which every driver today at every level gives away as a promotional tool.
Yep.
Today, the 1972 SCP set is the most sought after NASCAR trading set by NASCAR collectors. Examples of these cards turn up rarely in the mainstream trading card market and are very scarce. Condition also varies, making pristine examples very difficult to find today. With their popularity among collectors, and their rarity, the 1972 SV will always be command lofty prices, making the set to have in every NASCAR collector's racing card portfolio.
Well said.
Now, the one thing about Andy Granatelli is, like I said, he was a racer. He actually tried to qualify for the Indy 500 and didn't make it. But then he was also team owner and winner of 1968, sponsoring Mario Andretti.
Yep.
Which leads me into a small set that was produced in 1970 by Fleer.
Yes.
The 1970 Fleer drag strips. And I'm wondering if this is where he might have gotten the idea to produce this as a promotional. I don't think you have some on hand. So
I
that's
do.
I don't remember exactly how many are in a set, but he has his own card in that set. And then I think he's pictured with a few drivers.
He is. This is his portrait right here from the 1970 Fleer drag strips. Then he was also with Joe Leonard, and this car was sponsored by STP, as you can see, and that's him kneeling by the car with Joe Leonard. And then he also sponsored Parnelli Jones in this car right here.
Mm-hmm.
You see he's kneeling by the car with Parnelli Jones. So yeah,
I wish we could have got a Mario Andretti in that.
Oh, that would have been incredible to have Mario Andretti in there. I'm surprised there wasn't one.
But like I said, he was a massive show promoter. He was in Herbie the Love Bug as well. He's got a scene in there in a talking part. So again, if you grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I still remember STP everywhere. So I think it was bowling. I think it was everywhere.
It was everywhere. There was a kid that lived down the street from us, and his dad worked for STP, and he got tons of STP stickers. And of course, every kid in school wanted them. I had some. I put them on my bike. I put them on my binder, the door of my bedroom, which made my dad mad. But yeah, I can still I can still remember the little jingle they had. It went like STP is the racer's edge. I still remember that commercial. So it was a catchy jingle.
Right. Let's go over. Let me show some of the images here of what they look like. And that's one of the reasons I actually started NASCAR radio, or I started getting into and researching these, um, because you never see, these images of of all the cards. So you'll get to see them here. So the Bobby Allison and Buddy Baker. And again, we'll go through the card backs and dig through a few of them. I've got some facts for those. We have Richard Brooks and Charlie Glausbach, James Hilton and Emo Langley.
Yeah, I think that Elmo Langley is probably one of the more common cards.
Yeah, we'll go through the pop reports as well. Here's the Fred Lorenzen, the two different versions. The one on the left is considered like the portrait. The one on the right is, I think, marked or defined as by kneeling next to the car. I think it is, or kneeling.
Yeah, they just say with car.
Hmm. So that's what the STP car looked like in 1971, prior to Richard Petty taking over the STP sponsorship, or STP sponsoring Richard Petty as opposed to Fred Lorenzen. And then we have Dave Marcus and Benny Parsons, and then Richard Petty,
The king.
the king. So that's what the front images look like. And so doing some digging with these and looking at all the different card backs, I've noticed that the dates pertain to, I guess, three different dates, and we're not going to necessarily go through them all, but we'll pull up. Let's see. Let me see which one I want to do first here. I think Benny Parsons. Let me share.
Okay, well, I'm not going to have dead air here. I'm just going to say that looking at these backs, they're complements of STP Corporation, and they're in blue colored ink.
Mm-hmm. So the back of the Benny Parsons, I have found out that looking through the backs, they correspond to either June 13th, 1971, which is race number 23 in Michigan, or July 18th, 1971, which is race 31 at Trenton. All the backs pertain to one of these dates. I believe two of them pertain to the June date, which was the Fred Lorenzen and Benny Parsons. So we'll look at the Benny Parsons. So basically, the verbiage for Benny Parsons, and let me make sure I'm sharing. Let's see. So this is the Benny Parsons 1971 season. So the back of the Benny Parsons is that he was born July 12th, 1941. He's cancer. He moved to Detroit and started racing in 1963. He joined ARCA in 1965, finished seventh in points, and was Rookie of the Year. He won the ARCA Championship in 1968, 1969. Benny won the ARCA 300 at Daytona in 1969, finished seventh in the Daytona 500, and was voted Outstanding Rookie of the NASCAR race. In 1970, Parson joined NASCAR and the DeWitt Racing Team. Driving a 1970 Ford, he competed in 45 of the 48 races and finished 8th in points, earning $52,325 in races prices in the first year effort for both Parsons and owner LG DeWitt. This season, so it's 1971, Parson drove the DeWitt Ford in the first 23 races, finishing 10 of them in the top 5 and got his first win at Halifax County 100 at South Boston, VA. So this is basically saying the first 23 races, which puts us at Michigan. And I think the other date I was talking about was the race number 31, which is July. So basically, he only ran one more race, which he finished, I guess it was 22nd. So they didn't include that. And so, that was the marker. So race 23 of Michigan. Lorenzen again also is in that time frame of June 13th of 71. And then I'll show you an example of James Hilton. And let me present that real quick. Again, not to go over them all, but just to kind of give you an idea of, that was for Lorenzen. Let me change that. Low production value here, but we are high on content. And so James Hilton, his card back is James Hilton, Inman, South Carolina, born August 26, 1935. He was a Virgo. Hilton came to NASCAR racing as chief mechanic on Rex White's car. He later took over Ned Jarrett's championship Ford, and at the time, he started racing the team's second car. He was NASCAR Rookie of the Year in 1964, and after 5 years, 183 races, and 14 second-place finishes, Hilton won his first Grand National race, the Richmond 500. For the 1970 season, Hilton switched from Dodge to drive an independent Ford and started all 47 events, won one, but finished 22 times in the top 5 and 39 in the top 10. He won the NASCAR Grand American 250 race at Daytona in 1970. This season, so they're talking about 1971, Hilton has raced in all of the 30 possible Grand National events. He's finished 10 times in the top 5 and 23 in the top 10 in his independent 71 Ford. So he's finished all 30 of the events, which puts us at Trenton, which was that July 18th, 71. And then the other race I was talking about was 23, Michigan. This is that June 13th date I was coming to. So basically, all of them except for Richard Petty are defined, or the verbiage going up to race number 23 or race number 31, which is interesting. Now, how that relates to Fred Lorenzen, because Lorenzen has 2 cards, which has always been the big kind of mystery for that. So we kind of need to look at Fred Lorenzen's 1971 season.
Yeah, his primary sponsor that year was STP, of course. And you see it says that right there, sponsor/owner.
Right. Yeah, and so they didn't know he wasn't sponsored prior to 70 with STP, and he wouldn't be sponsored in 72. And actually, he doesn't even run the 72 Daytona 500. So if we go down the list, I don't want to talk about Lorenzen's card back because it's kind of peculiar where he has 2 cards. Um, and so I'll kind of skip over the part there. So on the back of Lorenzen, the last few sentences, this season Lorenzen is campaigning the number 99 Nichols Engineering Plymouth, sponsored by STP. He has raced in 11 events so far and finished in the top 5 in 6. So he's raced in 11 events so far. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Michigan.
23, which is the June 13th date. So he gets to 23, and so the back of the card only references this here. He runs Daytona, Talladega. He finishes as well. They're 27, 37. He has engine problems in Dover. He tries to qualify Darlington with the Wood brothers, which is interesting. And I don't know if you saw this. His crew chief was Paul Goldsmith. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
So the cards get made after Michigan, and I can see where he's doing well, and they make the car next to the card, and him kneeling next to the card.
There you
Thank you.
go.
Took me a second there. But then they either that was an early well, it couldn't have been an early item because it references 23. They have both the same back, only the front's different. So it's interesting. And so somewhere in here, Andy Granitelli is working with Petty, I'm sure, for Daytona and the whole 72 to today. Like a lifetime sponsorship with
Yeah.
that. So it's kind of interesting that he's got those two cards.
Yeah. So, it kind of begs the question, were these cards distributed before 1972? You know, just from what we're seeing on the backs of these cards.
I think so.
I do too.
I think so. Now the Petty is interesting. We'll talk about that. So I could see these being done late in 71, right? Because we know um, the um, the June July dates, and then I think we talked about a pre-show that his one of his last races would be August 22nd, so it's almost like a month, and then his last race it looks like October 17th. So it's quite a bit of time there. So it could be that they created those cards and to give away. So I know people say it was given away at Speed Week, but I think there's a possibility because they're racing until late October. I don't know how long it takes to print cards. And one of Rayman's, I want to say, his superpowers is that he's got the photography, he's got access to the printers, and because he made the what was it, like the hero cards. He did placemats eventually. He had the magazine. Um, so it was nothing for him to kind of I won't say whip these out, but he it wasn't a new process for him. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he definitely has the technology.
Right. So and we know Andy Granatelli is ramping up for STP sponsoring. I think he also sponsored Buddy Baker as well, if I remember right. I think I was looking at what was I looking at? I was looking at one of the races in 72, I think it was. So um and then but so let's look at the Richard Petty back. So we have an idea that the earliest they could have been done was July. End of the July. I guess the best they could do is July 18th. So that's the earliest those could have been. Well, they referenced that date, so it would have been sometime after that. But the
Right.
Petty is interesting. So in 1971, Petty did pretty well. But if we look at his card back here, born July 2nd, 37, Cancer, Richard Petty, son of of NASCAR's all-time great. Lee Petty started his brilliant racing career at Columbia, South Carolina in 1958. Since joining NASCAR through the 1970 season, Richard was NASCAR's Rookie of the Year, Grand National Point Championships in 1964 and again in 1967. Had participated in 519 races, won 119. That's incredible right there.
Yeah, it is.
Finished because I'm thinking about like Earnhardt and some of these other guys, their number totals. Anyway, he finished 297 in the top five and had won $828,908 in 1970. Right. Richard also received the honor of being the first race driver appointed to the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sport. He is the only driver to have won the Daytona 500 three times in 1964, 66, and 71. So there's a reference to the 71 Daytona 500.
Right.
Driving the only factory Plymouth in NASCAR Grand National Racing this year, Richard had continued to rewrite the record books. He's the only NASCAR driver to have earned over $1 million in prize money. So all they mention is Daytona 500 in 71. But if we
Right.
look at his accomplishments in 71, so this is the 1971 season. Okay. So we want to go to either race 20, 23, or 31. And we start scrolling. Look at these winners here. Here's Petty winning Daytona 500. Right. Then we have Petty winning Richmond, Petty winning Rockingham, Petty winning Hickory, Petty winning Columbia, Petty winning Maryville, North Wilkesboro. Well, we're not done. Martinsville. Okay, and then we go Asheville. We're only at race 19. We go so Bobby Allison's on a run of winning. We get to 26. Petty wins again. Petty wins 28, 29, wins race 30. I think we said we go to 31. There's 13 wins here for Petty in 71, but they don't mention that. They only mention the 500, which is
Right.
very curious. So it's almost like Petty was maybe done early, all by himself, or was it they just wanted a card for him and they just kind of threw all his career statistics instead of talking about 71, 1971.
Yeah. It almost sounds like it was made early, but at that time, Richard Petty was not sponsored by STP officially. That didn't start till 1972.
That is correct. So if we follow Petty here, this is Racing Reference. If I didn't already mention it, this is a great resource. So this is Petty through the years. So if we look at 71, we look at his 46 races. He was sponsored by Pepsi in here. I didn't realize. So he's Petty Enterprises, crew chief Dale Inman, and you see Plymouth. I think there's some Pepsi in here. There's Pepsi here, Talladega,
Yeah, most of them
Pepsi in
were Plymouth by
Atlanta.
Petty.
Yeah, right, exactly. So there's not a STP in here. So that's 71. Now we go to 72. They only ran 31 races in 72. And then we look at the difference. Here we go. STP, Penny Enterprises, all through the season.
Yep. So, I mean, was that a foreshadowing of things that we didn't know about? Maybe he already had him signed at that point in time? Because I know that there was a little bit of contention about the color of the car because Richard Petty wanted to keep it Petty blue. Andy Granatelli said, hey, if we're going to sponsor you, we want it to be red. And they compromised with the STP red and the Petty blue paint schemes.
Yeah, so I'm bringing up the 72 Daytona 500 real quick. Lorenzen doesn't even race. So I do a search for Fred. Nothing comes up. The one person that comes up is Fred Elder as the owner. So, but to your point, if you watch the movie Petty Blue, I think it was on DVD, they mentioned that that was a major sticking point. Granted, Andy Granatelli wanted it to be red. Fred Lorenzen's car was red in '71, so that's why I think he was pushing for that. Petty wasn't giving up his blue, his blue at all. So
No.
they talk about it where I think he was giving him like 200 grand or something like that, and Petty was walking away. Like, you can keep your money. The color was more important. And then they compromised to have, some red on it.
Which has definitely become iconic over the years.
Right. So it's interesting, that they don't really reference much on the back other than winning the Daytona 500 in '71.
Yep.
So that means that could have been made any time after that. But I don't know why if you cut the race, if you're cutting off the verbiage on race 23 or race 31, you don't mention Petty winning 13 races, 10 races, other than Daytona. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. So, like I said, we will probably never know exactly when this card was printed, but was it, like you said, was it printed early ahead of time, or because you look at it though, because a lot of times when you have early printings of any kind of card and then a later printing, there's always some subtle differences, like the color of the ink or the font or something that's different. These cards all look the same as far as the fonts on the back, the color of the ink on the back, the way the pictures look with the full bleed. They all look the same. I cannot hear you.
Yeah. So I'm saying there's not a bunch out there where you could have, you know, uh, like who out there has multiples of these to be able to compare them and stock and stuff. Or if you do, you're not, they're going in car holders or whatever, and they're not loose out there. So, um, but I just thought I'd bring that up. It's kind of interesting. I had sent a letter to Andy Granatelli when he was alive, asking for more information, and unfortunately, he basically responded back that he gave these away at the different tracks, but he doesn't remember exactly. So I think he said that it's been a long time, and he's done so many things in his life that this was not. Here you got somebody who's trying to win championships and all this other stuff, let alone realizing what he's done to the NASCAR trading card market. Right? That wasn't one of his goals.
Yeah, he had no idea that he's left such an indelible mark on the NASCAR trading card hobby by releasing these cards.
Exactly. So he just said that he had given them out at multiple races. Some people reported that he handed them out at the 1972 Speed Week in Daytona, and that was probably true. But he also handed them out at other places as well.
Yeah, but didn't you say in the letter that he said race tracks, not racetrack?
Correct. He said,
He handed
yeah,
them out.
racetracks. And then I had over the years talked to folks who were either selling them on eBay, and I would contact them and ask them, where they got them and stuff like that. And so, um, I think there's one lady who was getting them at Speed Week, and she got them all except for the Lorenzen next to the car, but she did get a Lorenzen.
Hmm. Now,
I did. I think somebody else said they got them at where's the one in California I was talking about before race?
Ontario.
Ontario, yeah. I think they mentioned that, and he lived in California at the time. So again, there's questions that we'll probably never find answers to, but it's good to asking questions about them and trying to discover what we can discover from the card backs and stuff like that. So
Yeah, try to keep the speculation down as much as possible, but this set just reeks of speculation because we just don't know.
yeah. So and then Um, where I was going to go with this is so Rayman produced the cards and must have given them to Granatelli. He must have had some stock left over or cards left over. Dane Turner, when Rayman retires in '86, Dane Turner acquires all the negatives and all of the his supplies, basically, because he produced placemats and stuff like that. So he got the placemats, the laminators, he got everything. And in that mix, there must have been STP cards, not all of them, but some of them. I think that's where the Emma Langleys and the Buddy Bakers and stuff started popping out. So these come back on market in the late '80s, early '90s, and so I don't think there's going to be a big find anymore of those. So that happened late '80s, early '90s, and then Dane Turner produces the Masters of Racing set with those older negatives and stuff like that. So
Yeah, didn't we hear that they were looking through? I guess it was Dane Turner. Somebody was looking through all those negatives, and they found some of the negatives of some of the photographs that were close looking to the 72 STP, but they never found like the Richard Petty negative for the actual card.
yeah, so after the lineage, I know it's hard to find, but follow. But yeah, Cal had purchased all the negatives and stuff from Dane, and then I had contacted Cal about trying to find some of those negatives, and he could get close, but he couldn't get the actual photos. And if you look in, I think it's a 71 racing pictorial, or maybe it's a 70 racing pictorials. There are some of those images that you see closely resembling
Mm-hmm.
the STP card. So
Yeah, so those may very well be lost to time as well.
yeah, I have a feeling maybe either they were destroyed or Dane had them because Dane reserved some stuff when he sold stuff to Cal. Because there's, if you go through the racing collectible price guide and go through the editorials, there's an editorial in there where he talks about where he has some prototypes of stuff that's never been released and that's going into the vault.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I think it was around like the Sports Star Photographics or whatever. So I don't, I would think that. Oh, and the other thing too is in that racing price guide, he never prices the 1972 STP set. Not once in that price guide do they price the 1972 STP. They only start with 86 Sports Star Photographics. Collector's World started pricing 72 STP. So I thought that was interesting.
yeah, it was very interesting. Didn't you say while we were in the green room, didn't Fred Lorenzen give out some of these cards? Isn't that what you heard?
Yeah, I think it was one of the folks that I contacted mentioned maybe I can't remember who it was, but I think he was younger at the time, maybe with his dad, and they were in the writers room or whatever it is for media, and Lorenzen was there giving some out, and he got them. And I think it was with the portrait. So it's possible that Granatelli, since they were kind of, I'm sure, friends, business partners, or whatever, and and give them to him to give out. So
So that begs the question, if a quantity of those were given to Fred Lorenzen, that's a less of a quantity that could probably be given out at the tracks. So, maybe that's what's making those cards a little bit more rare. Maybe these, you know how people are. These things were never intended to be collected. They were just a promotional giveaway. So people just went, "Oh, look at this thing," and they just threw it out. They didn't care.
yeah, and when I
So
say it, I'm sorry, again.
no, I was just saying people didn't care, so they didn't keep them. So that makes them even more scarce.
Right. One of the things I'll say when I say a track giveaway, I don't mean like every person who gets one goes through the gate. This is oh, you found me, and here's some cards. Kind of like your, I don't want to say even probably more scarce than your Daytona card, Toyota cards, right? You had
Right.
to go and not everybody gets one. and you have to kind of know about it. And there was probably thousands of people who went into the track that didn't know that was there, didn't participate or whatever. So it's not like, hey, it's a magazine and everybody who goes through the gate gets a free one. When I talk
No,
about a track giveaway, that was not
that
it.
didn't
That was,
happen.
yeah, it was
We
you
we would
bump
see a
into
lot more.
somebody, yeah, you're bumping into somebody and you're like, I have a stack of them and I'm handing them out to the folks that were lucky enough to be around them. Not everybody got one.
Exactly.
And to your point, I think Dane actually had told me that like these collectibles, people didn't buy them. That's the difference between cards back in the day and cards now. Back then, you didn't perceive them as a collectible. They were buying them for the gum or they were doing whatever. They were handouts. You didn't pay anything for them. You don't think there's any value to them. You put them in a drawer. You're tired of looking at them. You throw them out, as opposed to paying $100 for a box of cards, and you want everything to be perfect, and nobody's throwing nothing away. People keeping wrappers too and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a different mindset. So uh, there's no telling how many of these got damaged over the years, got thrown away, put in drawers, misplaced, whatever.
Stuck in
Um,
pockets, whatever.
yeah, and even putting them away in the 80s in plastic card cases because of that gloss, they stick to them, and then when you pull them off, they stick to the inside of the case, and you lose the edges. That's why when you
Yeah.
see some of these 72 STPs, they're missing the corners because they didn't put them in a plastic sleeve and they were in these holders, because those plastic holders were big in the late 80s and 90s. And that's when I think, some of those came out and the price guides came out and people were seeing them with value and trying to take
Mhm.
care of them. And so they're tough and high grade. So I guess we should finish up by going to the pop report.
Yeah, let's check out the pop reports of all the different grading companies.
So I'm going to go through some of these here. We'll sum it up, but we basically have that, like the PSA pop report for each of the drivers. As you can see, that was PSA. We have SGC has graded some, and this is Beckett's grading here. And so through the power of Logan, we have a beautiful tabulated totals.
Yeah, if you notice and we've talked about this before in previous shows, the Fred Lorenzen with car is definitely the most rare of all of the 11 cards, because you can see CGC hasn't graded any 72 STP cards at all, and SGC has only graded 19 total. And of course, Beckett, you would think Beckett would have done a lot, because people used to submit a lot of vintage with Beckett, but they've only ever graded 27 total.
Right.
So it's amazing to me that no more cards have been graded than you see right here. I mean, it's 199 total between 4 different grading companies.
I don't think that's too much. I mean, the highest one we have is Petty at 47, so we're not even at 50. And I think we talked before show, we were like, well, how many 86 Fleer Jordans are there?
I'll tell you exactly how many as of this show tonight. There are 27,238 86 Fleer Michael Jordans graded just by PSA.
27,000.
Yeah. And that's supposed to be a rare card. So what does that make these? Ultra rare, ultra rare? I mean, you just can't hardly find these things, and they only have 199 graded between all the grading companies. Holy smokes. That's incredible.
Right. That's 199 over 11 different cards. And then some of them we have 5, 9, and the highest we have is the 47 of just any one card.
Yeah,
And I
Richard
think we
Petty.
talked about like the Buddy Baker and Emo Langley. Those are the two that I think there were quite a bit, or not quite a bit, but like in the late 80s that some of those were found. So, and maybe some Petties, I don't know, but you can see we're still not talking about a lot.
No, excuse me, I'm amazed that there's only 9 Bobby Allisons, and again we know how tough that card is. I don't even have one of those cards. In fact, I need the 2 shortest printed ones or graded ones right there. I need the Lorenzen with car and the Bobby Allison. Those are the 2 I need for my set. I've got all the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm working on an autograph set. I'm missing Benny Parsons autographed, and I think Richard Brooks. So anybody runs into one of those, let me know.
Yeah, Val is definitely your Huckleberry.
Yeah, I've got the rest autographed. So
But it's just this is a startling statistic when you see this that
yeah, I thought it was scarce, but then like 200 here. Let's round up one, and then 27,000 of the iconic '86 Fleer Jordans. I mean, it's just incredible, and I know NASCAR is nowhere near collected like basketball cards, but man, if NASCAR ever does, watch out. This is the Hornets Wagners of NASCAR.
oh, there's no doubt. Um, you know, you and I have been to a bunch of nationals, and they say that if it's not at the national, it doesn't exist. Well, wrongo. How many 72 STP cards have you seen at the national, Val?
Probably two, and
I've
I've been
never seen
going.
any.
It was Langley, and I think 1 year, and I think it was Baker the another year. But I've been going multiple years, and then ask me how many 52 mantles I've seen. Probably
See,
what, 50 or 100?
hundreds. I mean,
Yeah,
this year alone, I probably saw at least 20 there. You
I
know,
I remember going to the national. I had the shirts made, looking, and I had a picture of the Lorenzen on the back and Petty on the back, looking for 72 STPs.
I remember that.
Yeah, never found a one.
No,
So you're
so
right.
yeah, I've never seen any at the national. So that's a big telltale sign to me. I mean, even if you're a dealer and you've got these cards, you've got to realize if you're any kind of dealer, the scarcity and the rarity of these cards, and you would bring it because you could probably sell it. So that just tells you that these dealers just don't have them.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree. So, uh, I know we're running over here, but again, this is great content. I hope everybody got something out of this, and we were somewhat organized with our facts and figures. I know it's a lot of information to throw
It,
out there, but
it is, and there's probably more that we could really talk about, but we're just kind of limited with our time.
yeah, I guess might have lost some folks already because of the
Yeah.
subject. Uh, but it is interesting, and we've spent many hour researching, looking at these, and um, learning about them. So, but that chart there, it kind of brings it all home. Where I thought there was a lot more actually than only the 200. So
Yeah, I did too. I figured that I
graded.
really thought Beckett would have more.
Yeah, I thought so too. But again, the set registry is kind of its own drug. So, but I don't want to
Indeed.
drag this on. So, all right. Um, I guess let me get this ready here. I guess we're ready for King's Court. Anything else before we go?
No, man. If anybody's got the Fred Lorenzen with the car, I'm your Huckleberry for that one for sure. Just let me know. I'll sell some stuff to buy one of those.
Yeah, everybody holding on to those. Okay. All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Sorry,
All right.
I had muted myself.
You really scared me. I was like, oh
Oh
my God,
crap.
because I was closing some windows down. I'm like, oh no, what'd I do?
Yeah, no, I had my hat on kind of cattywampus there, had to get it straight. So anyway, this week's King's Court, we're going to start out with honorable mention number 1. This is on the 12th of August. The description says 3 autograph racing driver cards, Gurney, Mears, and Unser. I think they probably might have left some money on the table because of that description. But anyway, they were asking $400 for these 3 cards, and they settled on a best offer of $220.05. for these cards.
Nice.
Yeah. So, all these guys are racing legends.
Yeah, look, because that's numbered at 50, and that's at I don't know, 70, I guess it is. So
Yeah, and there's an inscription on that mirrors. It looks like it says 4 something because he won. Didn't he win 4 times the Indy 500?
maybe
Um,
it's a 4 bricks or something.
or is something. Yeah, it's hard to see what that inscription is, but
And I
those are
like
all
Gurney.
really neat cards. Yeah,
Yeah, and I like the Gurney autograph.
yeah, I do too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's 200 and something. You said for 3.
220. Yeah, so that's basically a little over $70 a hit.
I think that's pretty good. I think they did good.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. Next up is honorable mention number 2. This is on the 10th of August, 2018 Panini Donruss Richard Petty Slingshot. It's a PSA 10. They were asking $389.99, and they took a best offer of $300 for that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a cool card. I've got one of those in a PSA 10, and I love it. It's one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, slingshots are pretty nice. They're so rare.
They are rare.
You can buy a 2018 Panini Donruss case and not hit one. So
That tells you everything you want to know right there.
yeah, and there's only what 4 or 5 cards in there. So
I
yeah,
think 4, yeah.
and that's the first year for slingshots.
Yeah, because you had what? You had Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yes, sir.
And Carl Edwards is cool. He's upside down doing a flip. I love that card too. That's a great card.
All right.
All right. So moving on, our Joker of the week. This was on the 11th of August. I'll tell you what's my Joker here in a minute. It's Dale Earnhardt 1996 Champion Salute number 10, slightly damaged, and the number 5. They were asking $10,000 for these 2 cards. Really?
I want to play that commercial where the guy's looking for he's got the dollar at the end of the fishing pole. He's like, grab it. That's what I feel like with some of these sometimes.
Yeah, this is another one of those pie in the sky fishing expeditions that you know me, I don't like it. If you're going to sell these cards, if you want to sell these cards, start them, have them, bid, and have a minimum price, set your minimum price, or just don't sell the things at all. I mean, that really, honestly, that irks me. I don't like these fishing expeditions. It's just not cool. So
yeah, I could have seen it like starting the bid at 1,000 or whatever, but anyway, I mean, or starting your best offer 1,000 or less. But anyway, I'm wondering again. This is not the 7 Wonders, so
no, they're not.
I don't know. I wonder if I need to be opening my.
Well,
Are these 80? Are these 96 Zeniths? I think.
yes, but here, let me finish this.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
They were asking $10,000. You know how much they sold for? Best offer, $800.
Yeah, that's still, I think, a lot.
That's still a lot, but it's not even close to $10,000. My God.
Right.
But
it's less than a tenth. A tenth of it. So that's what I'm saying. You should start at 1,000 or something, and it's not the 7 Wonders.
no, it's not the 7 Wonders. I'm just not a fan of it. Sorry. It just when I see people do this, they do it with the stick and ball sports, and it's just ridiculous. I get that there's no comps, but
And I guess that's it, right? With the NASCAR, this stuff is scarce. Like we talk about those 72 STPs. They're fishing because they're waiting for somebody looking for this and see what they're willing to offer for it.
yep.
So, and they're afraid to put money out there. I mean, if you take $800 or whatever, put $900 on it and whatever. So I don't know. Like you said, it was 10 grand and 800 is way different.
Yeah, that's a big gap.
Yeah. Now, if you would have sold it for 8 grand, I could, that's closer to 10 than it is to.
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress.
All right. So I gave you my little rant on that. So let's move on to our Jack of the Week. It's our young driver. This is on the 9th of August. It's 2023 National Treasures Kaz Grala Auto Tire 1 of 1. They were asking $299.95 for this bad boy, and they took a best offer of $150, so about half off.
Okay.
But I like that card because it's got the Goodyear wing of the tire on there.
Yes, sir.
So that's a cool card, and he just signs. He's like Bubba and everybody. He signs Kaz.
It's like 7.
So I like that card. It's a sweet card.
Yeah, I like that the wing there from Goodyear. It's cool.
Yeah, I think that's a fair price for that card.
101. Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So next is our Queen of the Week. This was on the 8th of August. The 2021 Panini National Treasures Hailie Deegan and Danica Patrick Platinum 1 of 1 auto. And this card went out for bidding. And it landed at $229.70 with 36 bids.
I'm telling you, man, people were wanting this. 36 bids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, she's, both of them are very popular.
I was looking for the 101. It's hidden right there.
Yeah, it's tough to see. I'm looking at it right now.
It's right below her Monster Energy logo, looks like.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, it is. But that's a nice card, and Danica especially has a good signature. Although it looks like that the D in Danica got a little.
Yeah, she skipped that. That's weird because it's very, very defined everywhere else, and it's not even looks like light. It's just like missing.
Yeah, it just skipped for whatever reason. But even though that's on there, it's still an incredible card.
36 bids, man. They are highly collectible.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, they both have their very collectible fan bases for sure.
I see that. All
right. So next, our King of the Week. This is on the 11th of August. Look who it is.
Go.
How coincidental is this? 1972 STP Corporation Bobby Allison NASCAR rookie card, which it is. They're asking $800 for it, starting out, and there was one bid, and somebody is basically a click, and somebody bought it for $800.
I was looking. It looks like that corner's bent some.
Yeah, it does. Looks like there's a little bit of a crease in there,
and you can see the white on the edges.
Yeah, the bottom doesn't look so bad. It's the top that took the brunt of the damage.
Yeah.
I would probably give that maybe at best, it may be a PSA 4, but it's probably going to be maybe a 3.
And we talk about how tough these are behind the Lorenzen. So,
yeah, behind the Lorenzens, this is definitely the toughest card. Like I said, it's the 1 of 2 I still need, and look how many years I've been collecting. So that tells you everything you want to know right there.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a cool card, man. Whoever bought this card, man, you did good. I love this card so much.
It just screams to me it needs to be signed, but I'll move on.
But you've got one that's signed. So.
Yeah, and my corners were damaged, like I talked about when they get stuck to the inside of the plastic. So
yeah,
it was a perfect candidate to get signed. So
yeah, at least you got one though. That's super cool.
Yep. All right, moving on.
Moving on to our Ace of the Week, our 1 of 1. This is on the 9th of August. Dale Earnhardt Sr. Press Pass Showcase Masterpieces, 1 of 1. That's a cool card right there, man. You just don't see cards like that every
black
day.
Border, that's great.
Oh, black border, keep on blacking.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a cool card, man. But they were asking $510 for this card. And guess what? Click.
Oh, wow.
$510. I don't know how fast it went after it was listed, but I bet it didn't take long.
That's nice.
It is. It's very nice. I know that if I had that card, I'd be extremely proud of it. That's a nice one. And Press Pass did such a great job back in the day with Showcase. That was one of my favorite. When they came out with that high-end NASCAR, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. and to have the one of one of Dale Earnhardt, man, you just can't beat it.
Mm-mm.
All
Awesome.
right, so let's move on to our Baccarat of the week. This is our F1 card of the week. This is the 11th of August. Lando Calrissian Norris, PSA 9, 2021, Topps Chrome F1, True Gold Refractor. It's autographed. It's number 48 of 50. We love gold. And this card went out for bidding, actually, and it ended at $560 with 35 bids for this card.
Wow.
And that autograph looks really nice.
It's really tight, but it's nice.
Yeah, he's got that really tight little autograph, but still, it's not skipped, and it's very solid. It didn't use a crappy Sharpie or anything.
Reminds me of like Joe Gibbs, but
yeah, yeah, the same but different. But I really like that card. Of course, we love gold here on NASCAR Radio, and but it's not his rookie card, but it is a second year card, and it is gold. So
mm-hmm.
Great card. I know whoever bought that is glad to have that in their collection because I think it's really nice. Because it's also, it doesn't say in the description, but it is a auto 10 from PSA, so it's a 910.
And thinking about how high some of that F1 can be, I don't think that's a bad price.
No. From what we've seen in the F1 market, I think this is actually probably a very good deal that somebody got.
Yeah, that's where I was going with this. Is only out of 50, so
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So lastly, our Royal Flush of the week. This is on the 12th of August, 2023 Panini Prime Racing Kyle Larson. It's a Jumbo Series sponsor patch. It's a 1-of-1 race worn. And there was no fishing expedition here. They were asking $1,299.98 for this card. And it wasn't that far off from that price. It went for $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Kyle Larson is hot right now, both on the track and in the trading card market.
It's just amazing. I mean, it's a beautiful patch embroidered.
Mm-hmm. It's not that silk screen.
101. Yeah, I mean, that is a massive card there. And Larson is a future Hall of Famer. The guy can drive anything. We still don't know. I mean, he might be an Indy car. I mean, the kid can drive anything.
He can drive anything. He can get into any car and drive it, and not just drive it, but win with it.
Right. I was gonna say that it's our generation or AJ Foyt.
Or Mario Andretti.
Yes.
Because Mario, F1 champ, for IndyCar champ. He won the Daytona 500. He's won the Indy 500. He was very, very versatile. And Kyle Larson I put him in that same league.
Yeah, same here. That's a great card.
Yeah. So whoever got it out there, let us know if you see this, and we're very proud of you because that's a heck of a card.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So that's it for this week's King's Court.
All right.
And look what our time is. It's about our normal time.
It is, but we had a great show today. A massive show on 72 STP. So
yes.
Any parting words before we wrap it up for the week?
Hashtag RCHOF for Racing Card Hall of Fame. Check it out at racingcardhof.com. The second class will be starting that here in the next few weeks. I guess probably sometime in end of September, October, we'll be starting the nomination process all over again. So check that out. Hashtag we love gold.
I knew you were going to do that. I just switched over
to hashtag Slabfire, hashtag Ty Freaking Gibbs. We haven't even mentioned him tonight at all. And that's all I got, man.
All right. I almost mentioned Gibbs because he was kind of on the bubble there. Austin Dillon kicked, one of those guys down, so he's on the bubble. But anyway, I didn't. So we mentioned Ty Gibbs. So.
Yes.
But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Please share, like the show. Share if you can. Help us out. Try to spread the word of NASCAR trading cards as well as other racing series, IndyCar, F1. Even though we spotlighted the NASCAR 72 STP today, so. But everybody have a safe race weekend, and we'll be back next week. We are out of here.